everyone, it's Roger here from What's on Disney Plus. Welcome to this week's live Q&A. So this will be taking place as per usual. This is our normal one. So you can see if you've got a few people live in here. We've got Caleb, we've got Dana, you got Sosuna, and Bubba Trolling. Let me know if you can all hear me. Always like to check. So this is going to be the last Sunday Q&A of the year, because obviously next week is Christmas Day and the Sunday after that is New Year's Day. So we won't be doing any Q&As on those 2 days. But I am going to do a special live Q&A in the middle of the week between Christmas and New Year. It'll be announced kind of in the morning and stuff. But the plan is to have that one open to everyone so everyone can join in. Going to be no pre-done questions or anything like that. It will just be purely live on that one. It's just a nice Christmas version. So, let's jump into it. So, as per usual, lots of questions have been sent in by our patrons and YouTube channel members. We got lots of great questions about some highlights and stuff for the year. We've also got, if you're in the live chat as well, join in. So we'll be doing this for about 45 minutes because I'm going to have a cut off, because just after that, I'm then going to be speaking to Josh and recording a future podcast episode that'll be coming up after the new year. So we've got a busy evening tonight. But yeah, so that's all pretty cool. So let's just jump into the questions, and feel free to drop your comments in below. You can use the super chat function as well. All of this helps support the channel and supporting the software that we use, all hosts of stuff. Now, I will say, just as a quick warning, I am just getting over a cold, so I might have to if I have to mute off, it might be because I'm coughing or just like blow my nose or something. So just be aware of that one. Right, let's start off with Kayla's question to begin with, and I would like to hear your pros and cons as well. Drop them into the live chat. We'll do that after I've done mine. So what are your pros and cons of 2022? What improvements do you want to see? Right, okay, let's jump into these questions first off. So I am actually prepared today with some little shoot up. So first off, let's talk about the pros and the cons. So first off, the pros we have got. In the last year, we have seen the mature content and the parental controls dropping onto Disney Plus in the United States. We've also seen the ad tier launching, and we've also seen the live streaming of events and more originals. So those are my pros of the years. The parental controls really are more for the US. The ad tier, again, while it's not something I personally want, I do think it's good that they have got this and they've introduced it. And it's going to give Disney more profit, which is good for the streaming service. It also gives us, the viewer and subscriber, an option to have a slightly cheaper version. Live streaming, we obviously saw that with like Elton John. And then finally, let's talk now about originals. We have had some incredible originals this year. We have seen so many stuff. I was going through you can do it right now. If you go over to the website, you'll find the What's on Disney Plus annual awards. And when I was putting together the awards of what shows and films and stuff, there has been an incredible amount of content. It's definitely going to be so it's definitely going to be interesting to see how all of that was. The cons for the year. So parental controls and mature content is one of my other cons of the year, because I do not feel like Disney has really utilized this. They brought it in March, April, and it's been a bit of a damp squid ever since they did it in the US. It's just not really been that good. The ad tier, it was on my pros, it's also on my cons, because introducing an ad tier just generally is not good for. It's not the best. It would have been better if Disney Plus just didn't have ads, but I understand the business side of my brain thinks it's a great idea and it's good to have options and it gives a cheaper option. But my personal opinion is I hate watching ads. So that's a con. No changes. One of my big things of this year, I feel like if I jump back to a year ago and said what position would Disney Plus be in? Internationally, I think it's still I still think it's in a very good spot with all the content. It does feel like we've taken a little bit of a step back in some of the marketing. Costs have been cut back, which is going to lead on to some other things. But yeah, I feel like in general, the US, it doesn't feel like we're really that far forward from where we were a year ago. So let me know what your pros and cons were. As far as, and I said, improvements, what would I like to see? I'd like to see them shift up that front page a little bit, make it look a little bit more make some things pop, make some things like, little notes just saying new episodes, or even just bring in what they've got in Australia, where they had a new episodes this week banner. So it just lets you know that there's some new stuff dropping in. Mix up the shapes a little bit. I'd love them just to do sort out the hubs a little bit. Add a 20th Century hub, an ABC hub, a FX hub, an ESPN hub, and keep a Star hub as well. So that would be my personal goals and my pros and cons. Ken said, I remember one of my friends saying the change of parental controls wasn't easy. Keep in mind he is not completely tech savvy, so it's up to Disney to make a simplified change. The thing is, really, I mean, the parental controls, they brought them in like 8-9 months ago. I just feel there's a general thing of, because Disney didn't set it up from the big word go, it was always going to be that difficulty of trying to get people into the mindset that you have to do that. It's kind of funny, in every like press release from like Disney Plus in the UK, there's always a little note at the bottom which always says about parental controls. And I never put it in all the articles because I don't see the need to, but they do constantly put that out there. So Suna said, I think one of my cons is I didn't add a lot of mature content in the US. Now, there's probably barely a dozen titles. They've been a little bit easier on the National Geographic stuff and the Marvel side, but everything else, not that much at all. All right, let's carry on. So Kelly says, what are your predictions for streaming industry in 2023? So I think in terms of like the whole industry, I think we're going to see a lot more consolidation. We're going to see much less of a focus purely on streaming. I think they are going to be going theatrical, linear, and streaming is like a three-pronged approach. And like streaming is the future, and it's the biggest part of it now. But I don't think they're going to completely give up on linear, and they've just got to try and blend it a little bit better. I don't think it's a case now of and or. They need to do and. It's the consumers that are on linear maybe aren't going to jump over to streaming, and you got to kind of keep both customers happy. And theatrical is going to be, I think, a key thing. I think we're going to see a lot of mergers, but also closures. I know everyone kind of keeps going on about acquisitions. Disney need to buy this one. They need to buy that one. Are they going to buy Stars? Are they going to buy Lionsgate? Are they going to buy MC? Are they going to buy? Well, what if it's actually less about buying somebody out? It's just the fact that they turn around and go, look, this is just not profitable. We're closing it down. I think there's going to be more of that than actually just, and then they'll sell that content onto somebody else. Yeah, it's a definitely an interesting one with all this one. Let us know in the comments what you guys think as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Daniel says, when do you think Genius is going to come to Disney Plus in the US? Supposedly, it'll be a Disney Plus original for the 4th season. Yep, 1 to 3 are only on Hulu. I imagine they might drop on there much nearer the time of that 4th season dropping. I've seen some of season 1. I've seen all of season 3 with Aretha. That was a really good show. And I need to watch the one with I need to finish that one off. But yeah, so I think they'll probably arrive nearer the time of the release of the 4th season. I mean, I think they're only still filming it now, so it's a while off. Elliot says, do you think Disney will organize Star in the UK? Remember, you opened up the Star tab and it's content all over the place. It is a mess. I know some people kind of say they should, it's not that bad. I personally feel like it could do with, and I'll just bring this up here so you can see it. If you're in the US, and I'm going to just get rid of the question so you can see it a little bit better. Bring it up nice and big. So if I go back to homepage on Disney Plus and go into Star, it's just a hodgepodge. Because the trouble is with it is that there is thousands of titles in the Star Hub. And you look at like Pixar and Star Wars that only have got like maybe 30 or 40. There's like 1,500 items in here, and it's just, if it's not on the main list, it kind of gets lost a little bit. There's a lot of great stuff on here, but it's just a hodgepodge of stuff, and I really feel like they need to do a lot better way of either using collections a bit more or just doing a little bit more stuff on here, because Disney Plus internationally is a little bit it just needs a little bit of organizing. Needs a little bit of organization, definitely, for sure. Let's see what we've got here on the live. So Matt says, do you think they'll add a 20th century collection? I don't think they can do a 20th century collection. I feel that's too big. They've made, I think they need a hub. I think personally, I would like them to have a hub. So Suna says, do you see them adding an ABC collection? Again, I think they're going to go with a hub. I think that will be something that they bring in that they'll need to do. Cten says, what a game that was. Oh, are you talking about soccer? No idea. I've got no idea what was going on with that one. I'll be honest, I was not interested in the slightest. I'm glad it was a good game. To be honest, I don't even know who was in the final. That's how much interest I was in it. Elliot says, what other mature content would you like to see on Disney Plus in the US? When might Disney drop more mature content? The US parental controls now, and we've had them for not just a few months. You've had them for 7-8 months, and ultimately, and I think this is. I did see a comment here from Caleb, and I think this one is. It's the problem is going to be Disney have got contracts with Hulu. They can't just pull everything off there yet. I hope they could do some stuff like this, but I think we're going to have some problems with that one there. Right, carrying on with some of the questions. So I'm going to continue to go through the pre-done questions before we jump into some of the live ones. So Dana says, so listen to your recent podcast and he liked this. I'm gonna keep getting that wrong with Dana. So Dana did like the Santa Clauses as a TV series versus a movie, like you said. So what would you think made Disney give this a second season? I think the real honest is they gave it a second season because it did really well in the ratings. I think they hit gold with that one. He also said about them not marketing shows like Willow. Do you think that was more of a Chapek move to save money, or do you think that's will change in 2023 under Iger? I do think that there has been a cutback in the amount of advertising that Disney are doing. In terms of it definitely feels like there wasn't as much focus on advertising as much as they used to. If like this winter, there's been like a generic Disney Plus ad over here in the UK on TV about like Home Alone and like holiday specials and stuff. There was a bit of promotion for I don't know if this Enchanted. I know I saw some adverts on TV for The Old Man, but generally there has not been that much promotion. I think primarily they've been focused on Black Panther and Avatar. Those seem to be the two main things they have been promoting. And yeah, it's 100%. I agree. They cutting back on advertising, and it's not just Disney doing that. A lot of companies are really cutting back on their advertising. So Ricardo says, we have about 2 years since Aloha of the Honey I Shrunk the Kids show, and still no updates on it. I have a feeling, to be honest, that there was a lot of shows that got announced way too early. And also maybe the fact that a lot of these shows do take a long time to go through the process. And by them, it's catch-22. If they let us know really early, it saves it from being leaked. I mean, you can turn around and go, here's a show we're going to be making, but P.S. it might take 4 to 5 years till it hits our screens. I mean, it's a catch-22, really. Because then if they don't tell us and then it leaks out, we know about it. And then when they announce it, we go, well, we knew. It's a very, very tricky situation for that one there, of how that works. Let's say we see where we go. Mamad says, what do you think of Netflix not getting the numbers they expected on their ad tier? I think this was always likely to be the case. Obviously, advertising rates right now are quite hard to get hold of. In general, ads are going down because companies are spending less. Netflix is new. It's a new platform, and they couldn't necessarily provide numbers for how many people they were going to get or what views there were, because everything would have been an estimate. So it would have been quite tricky. I mean, Disney, in some way, they've been doing advertising for so long with Hulu, but ABC and all the rest of it, they're much more in that system. Whereas Netflix were coming in a little bit soft. I also wonder if this was trying to soften the blow, maybe ahead of their quarterly results, so people aren't quite so hitting the same thing for them. Joshua, very much. I've just been recovering from the World Cup final. Good. Whoever won, I'm glad whoever won. So Sina says, do you think we'll see Modern Family on Disney Plus next year? I don't think we'll see it in the United States. I think that deal that they did together a few years ago, where they were sharing Modern Family with Peacock and Hulu, I think that will probably stay in place for a little bit longer on that one there. Matt also says, do you think we'll get an update to the app in 2023? They are updating it constantly. They are constantly tweaking it and updating it. I feel like if they did like some kind of investors day, they might be more inclined to show us some big. I feel like the app is at a point now where it probably could do with some tweaks to kind of bring some of the things from the other platforms in it. It's kind of looked very, very similar for about 3 years now, and there's nothing, some of it works, and that's good, but there's some tweaks I think it needs to make finding content more easier. Josh said, meanwhile, Roku and Disney are having a tiff. Yes, they are having. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a tiff, but I would imagine Roku wants more money than Disney wants to give them, and maybe Roku is asking for too much compared to other platforms. Maybe Disney are being too stingy and not giving it to Roku. Now Roku is a big device system in the US. Internationally, I know here in the UK, Roku isn't really that much of a big thing. I don't know. It's very tricky with this one. But the only thing is with the Roku one is you can still get access to Disney Plus Premium. You just can't get access to the cheaper version. So it's still there. But it's just an unfortunate thing that they should have probably tried to get on. So Suna says, do you think we'll get Malcolm in the Middle on Disney Plus next year? I'm hoping so. I mean, this was so bad in the fact that they advertised this for Disney Plus in the US back in 2019 and still haven't delivered it. I think they should have it on there. I definitely feel like they should have had that one on there. Right, so Matt says, what top 3 shows did you like on Disney Plus, and what 3 shows did you not like on Disney Plus? Right, let me know in the comments what your 3 favorite shows are and what the 3 shows you didn't like were. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Here are some of mine. Now I'm going to give you 3 of each. But over the next 2 weeks, me and James are going to be doing like our top 10 of films and top 10 series. So we got a little bit more of this coming in. So this in the next that's the wrong one. Here we go. Right. So best 3. So my best 3 of the year are Moon Knight. I love that. That was my favorite of the Marvel series. The Bear. I really enjoyed The Bear. I thought that was a fantastic series. I think maybe just working in a restaurant and stuff for 20 plus years, I just really connected with that series so much. And then The Dropout, fascinating series, and I absolutely love that one. That was so good. Now my worst 3 of the year, Save Our Squad. That was so boring. It was so boring. Yeah, sorry, David. It was so dull. Especially after I really enjoyed Welcome to Wrexham, and I don't like football, I don't like soccer or anything like that, but I enjoyed the whole season of Welcome to Wrexham. But Save Our Squad was so dull. Mighty Ducks season 2, I've watched 3 episodes and I just can't be bothered to watch it. It was so dire. I just did not like it at all. And The Quest, The Quest just was really like it was a torture to watch. I like some of the premise of it, but overall, yeah, it just wasn't my bag. Let's see what we've got here. Let us know what you think. Let's see if you guys have put in any. Haven't seen any just yet. We'll wait a little bit longer for that one. Let's see what other questions we've got here. So Dana says, do you think Disney could bring back RadioDisney not only as a continuous loop of music streaming on Disney Plus? I think they should do. I think they should have some music channels, music videos, just music in general from their platforms. I think it would be good if they could do that. Maybe as like a rolling like fast channel or something like that, or just have a channel running with those ones. I think Disney Plus doesn't necessarily suit like music in terms of only having like a 2 to 3 minute music video, because I think you need like a playlist or some kind of functionality in there to do that one. So Joshua says Moon Knight, Obi-Wan, and strangely Willow. Nothing wrong with Strange and Willow. The only reason I haven't rated it a little bit higher, and I will do spoiler, it's not on my top 10 yet, is obviously we've not seen the end of it. I have seen a few more episodes than you guys have, and I am really enjoying it. And I do feel like that this show is something I enjoy it. I'm really liking it. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, I was a little bit disappointed with that one. It kind of felt a little bit bloated. Andor was a lot better watching, but I enjoyed. I in some ways I like some of the stuff of Andor, but with a little bit of. I know a lot of people don't like it, but a little bit more characters from the original. It's catch-22. You don't want to go like the Boba Fett way where you have like cameos all the time, but a little bit of lightsabers and stuff would be pretty cool. So I definitely feel like that one is there. A little follow on from Dana's question. I know Hulu has V-Mode music channels. Can see them making a deal to have Radio Disney branded fast channel. Yeah, I think it would make sense for them to do that one there. Cten, you said I would put Agent Ali in my top 3 alongside Andor and maybe Moon Knight or Miss Marvel. I haven't seen Agent Ali. That's one I've not heard of in terms of a Disney one. But yeah, Moonlight and Andor. Yep, Miss Marvel. I enjoyed episode 1 and 2, and I enjoyed the finale. There was a couple of bits in the middle. It felt a little bit unnecessary in terms of that one. Right, let's see what we've got. A couple more questions that were pre-done, and then we'll be on the live chat for the rest of the session. So Mamad says, what do you think of the US January list and the vast majority of content that is from National Geographic? The US January list, I'm going to be honest, is a little bit disappointing to me. You know, we've got Willow, National Treasure, and Bad Batch. And in all honesty, that is all there is really that I'd be watching. All of the National Geographic stuff, the majority of it has already been released on Disney Plus already internationally. So it's literally just like ticket. That's all it is. Get it, it's already on there. The A&E stuff, or the that just like it's just. It just feels right now that the US is in a holding pattern where they can't add anything decent from Disney's other brand. It just seems like there's just in a holding pattern, and it is just really disappointing to see we're still here. We're talking about like this time last year. So Dana says, name one streaming service that will be acquired in 2023. I don't know if AMC Plus might, or like Acorn and Shutter and all that kind of stuff might get like picked up. Lionsgate, I think Lionsgate Plus is not going to actually find a dealer. I think they're going to end up having to close it, and they're going to sell the content to Netflix or Amazon or whoever will pay. I think they're going to find that no one actually wants to buy it, because if you look at it right now of like which of the big boys, you don't need the streaming service. All you want is the content. I think they're going to end up. I think they're just going to end up closing it. I don't think they're going to be able to find a buyer. Mamo says, "What do you think of Disney adding A&E network content onto Disney Plus, and will we see more of it throughout 2023?" I think we're going to see more stuff that. A lot of the stuff that's being added in the US has already been added internationally. So I think the trouble is with A&E, there was a little bit of an issue in with Europe where they had to sell a lot of stuff, but I think we are going to see more of that. Mamad says, could you summarize 2022 in terms of the company as a whole? Okay, so here we go. So this was like this is what I think really in terms of so in I didn't put in 2022 by mistake in the title. So Consolidation, I think I don't think that's actually the wrong. I think no. Here we go. This is the one I was on about. So this was 2022 as a whole. So it was cost cutting. That's what it was mainly about. Was getting cost cutting in. Chapek was making lots of cuts, and now we are starting to see what was going on. The amount of content being removed internationally. We're seeing hundreds, if not hundreds, of titles have been removed. Reduction in advertising. I think we're going to see a reduction in the amount of stuff arriving on Disney Plus. I think in general, just cost cutting across everything. With the production being back to normal from the pandemic, has meant that we've had, I would say in some ways, 2022 has been stacked to content, and I don't think that will continue maybe beyond. I think we're going to see a little bit of a drop off. I mean, it might only be 10, 15, 20%. I mean, and there's still going to be a lot of content dropping, but I feel like we're going to have a lot less. And I think 2022 was just all about adjusting to spending, definitely spending. Let's see here. Caleb, you said your favorite Disney Plus shows of the year were Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and the Santa Clauses. That's cool. I enjoyed She-Hulk. I think I enjoyed She-Hulk. I think that was a fun series. The Santa Clauses was fun. I enjoyed it. But it's difficult. Kayla says you're biased against Miss Marvel since that show was close to me due to my South Asian coach. I 100% agree. I can see why, and because I love that about that show. That was actually one of the things for me I loved about Miss Marvel was I enjoyed having a different story from a different area, and I love that whole aspect. I definitely think that was good. Matt says my top 3 shows were Moon Knight, only Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Only Murders in the Building. I enjoyed season 2 of Only Murders in the Building, but I don't think it was a patch on season 1. But yeah, but no, it's a good list. Let's see what we've got here. So we have got just a couple more questions, and then we're going to be on the live ones. Connor says, on a whole, what are your predictions for Disney Plus and the streaming industry for 2023? Forever consolidation is on the cards, with Lionsgate and Hulu probably being axed. Like I said, I have a feeling that they're not going to get brought out. I think they're going to end up shutting, and then the content is going to be sold to somebody else. I just don't see anyone buying them. And none of the big companies are going to want to spend money buying subscribers. They just don't need it. They need the content. I just don't think buying a platform right now, they can just come in and just buy the content. So I think as a whole, moving forward, we're going to see in 2023 more consolidation. So we're going to see more stuff being spread out on linear. We're going to see some more stuff being released from like ABC on all the platforms. I think we're going to start seeing things being released on TV, Hulu, and Disney Plus in the US. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. Also, just consolidation within the whole industry. I think you're just going to see less. I think they've overcooked it. I think we're going to be seeing more ads and less originals. I think we're definitely going to get a lot less originals moving forward. Consolidation. Did I spell it wrong? Yeah. And then final question of the pre-done questions was Matt says, could Disney Plus become a hub for world cinema? So this actually was interesting because Ethan put up a column on the website today where we kind of highlighted that Disney could really kind of lean in on becoming a hub for more international content, especially like with Indian movies. I mean, they sat on so much Bollywood content, Asian content, anime. There's so much great content there that they could be putting on. And yeah, we need more of it. We definitely need some more of it. Right. So let's have a look here. So Cten, Hey You, not Hulu, is a reality TV show on demand. Yeah, see, the only reason that I was aware of Hey You was the fact that a lot of the shows my wife liked, like the Kardashians moved over there a few years ago over here in the UK. I think some of the TLC shows. But yeah, I think those kind of platforms, I think they're just going to struggle. Joshua says, consolidation, I think you might, but I agree there is some consolidation for those who want to be. Yeah. Well, there we go. We'll just put that down as spelling. Huge thank you to RRK65. Thank you very much for your super chat. Will we see more library titles on Disney Plus next year? I am going to have to. With the Disney 100th anniversary, you would think it would make sense for them to kind of lean in on this and kind of really start kicking off. But I kind of feel like that wouldn't they have already kind of started announcing that they were going to do stuff for January for the 100th? Maybe they'll start in January once we get into the 100th anniversary. It would be great if they were like, we're doing a platform and just kind of putting it out there of like it's Disney 100. The problem is they might be able to do some stuff for maybe the end of the Disney 100, but I feel like the Chapek regime of last year or this year is going to mean that work hasn't been done, and I don't think there will be. I know it's we might see some stuff coming in, but all those classic movies and stuff, I just don't see it. I know a lot of people would love to see it, but in 2022, what library content did we get? Really, we got a handful of titles. Barely got anything. So I would like to see more, but I honestly, hand on heart, I don't think it's going to happen. Joshua says, I'm being pedantic. I'll be honest, no, I did. Usually if I'm typing stuff up, I'm doing it on my laptop, but because I was doing it on my phone. Joshua said, could we see the closure of Hotstar in Europe and more content being moved from that service onto Disney Plus, as well as more closures of linear channels in Europe, assuming that there are any left? I think the only thing they've really got left is Nat Geo. And I don't think there's a problem. I've noticed actually with National Geographic linear channel over here, there's actually been a lot of Disney Plus stuff. The Rescue is being shown right now on the National Geographic. I saw that on the homepage of Sky earlier. Welcome to Earth is being shown. I believe they just added Limitless onto Hulu. So I think we are going to see National Geographic sharing its content more, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I know the viewers and stuff that aren't, why not share it? If you're creating a show like Limitless, wouldn't you want as many people as possible to see it? So putting it out on Nat Geo and Disney Plus makes a lot of sense to me. As far as the closure of Hotstar, I imagine a lot of it is going to be down to the sports and the fact of if they've got to put it onto ESPN Player. But it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how Hotstar's been a bit of an odd one. I thought we were going to see the closure much quicker. I honestly thought we were, but we didn't. The one and only Tinkerbell says in Germany we still have the Disney Channel. I'm good. I'm kind of in some way. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they actually did start a Disney Channel and just had stuff on repeat. I'm surprised but I don't. Kids aren't watching TV the same. But yeah. So Suna says I think 2023 will be a better year for mature content. I hope so. I can't think it'd be any worse in the US than it was in 2022. It wasn't really. I mean, if you think back, I mean, if you discount the National Geographic stuff, I mean, it was like the Orville, Alias. So there was another show, I can't think of what it was. Love Victor. There wasn't a lot. Let's have a look. So Matt says, I heard the Covenant of Agatha is delayed until 2025. So I'm guessing you're meaning Agatha House of Harkness. So there were rumors that filming was supposed to be starting like now or underway. And I did think that trying to get it out for the end of next year, early 2024, I had a feeling it was going to get pushed back until 2024 or even winter 20. I think they're going to spread out what they've got. What they've announced, I think we're going to see Echo is going to shift into 2024. Probably Agatha is going to shift into 2024, and maybe Daredevil shifts back into 2025. I think we are going to see a lot less. And that might spread out next year's content a little bit because I think they spent way too much on content from Disney Plus, and I think they have found that by doing too much, that they have actually damaged the Marvel branding this year with too much stuff. And I think they are going to have to cut it back a little bit. And as someone that loves this stuff, I mean, on one hand, it's like you don't want them doing it, but I can see why they are going to be cutting back. But let me know. Do you think they're going to do less Marvel stuff? I'd love to hear your thought. Kayla says, I can't guarantee I'll be on the open mic one due to work, which is why I saved my best pre-done questions. Yeah, it was a bit. I'm just going to do it. It's only because I didn't really want to go 2 weeks without doing one, but I'm going to open it up to everyone so everyone can join in on that one. Depends what I'm doing that way. It depends how much news there is. That was the other thing I was thinking. If there's no news, I'm planning on having a little bit of time off over the holidays as well. With it landing on a Sunday, it means then like here in the UK, like Monday and Tuesday are like closed for all the offices are closed and stuff. So I'm not expecting a lot of news. So I might try and I'm hoping my wife's got me some new Lego and video games, so I'll be playing that. Let's see what else we've got here. So we've done this one, yeah. I do think we're going to see an ABC hub at some point. Do you think that Hulu and Disney Plus will share more shows in 2023? I definitely think we're going to see some more sharing. I definitely feel that. Maybe more of the new stuff. I don't know why Disney aren't just going to lean in on that international side and really start like something like Extraordinary that's coming up next month. I don't know if it might be a little bit too risky for Disney Plus yet, but I think that would have been really nice to do them. Matt says, a hub for 20th century. I do believe that Disney Plus will expand the pillars to include 20th century Searchlight, Hotstar, FX, and ESPN, and Star Room. I think Star is going to be staying around. I definitely think that will be staying around. Ricardo says, what are the possibility of someone leaking the reboot of Lizzie McGuire? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. It might happen eventually. Joshua said it didn't help that Netflix didn't tell the majority of those licensing content is about 24 to 48 hours before launch. So apparently some of the content has been hasty. Yeah, I think that seems to be one problem that Netflix really had of like they hadn't really made deals because they tried to rush before Disney Plus and to get it going. They weren't really ready for it. Whereas like Disney, most of the stuff on the US market, it's probably a little bit harder maybe internationally. It'll be interesting to see how this works out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how this works. Matt says, Do you think they'll add some more 20th century content in the US? I think they will do. I think the HBO deal is supposed to end. Basically, Avatar is the last movie on that one. So from in January, we are now supposed to be kind of out of that HBO deal. I believe that's the end of the year. So therefore, any new movies coming out from 20th Century Studios next year can go straight to Hulu or to Disney Plus or both. So that will free them up a little bit in terms of things like the menu. Probably Empire of Light might be the last one to go over. But it's important to note that doesn't mean that everything that's on HBO leaves. I mean, they might have done that deal. They might have done it. I don't think they have. So they're still going to have content, and that stuff's going to have to expire. If they've got 18 months on it, it's going to be a while till it comes off. But also, like Avatar: The Way of Water is still probably going to end up going to HBO Max and Disney Plus. The only thing is, of whether or not Max and stuff they might get around it. But yeah, I think we are going to see much more content once they get out of that HBO deal. Joshua says, do you think we'll see the animated series such as Aladdin and Tailspin? I would like to say yes, but I don't think so. So I think, why have we not had them so far? Matt says, do you think they'll add more of the 2022 documentaries in the US? I think they will add some more. I don't necessarily know what you mean by the 2020. Barbara Trolling says, do you think Zaslav will be let go next year? No. Zaslav ain't going anywhere. He's doing exactly what he needs to be. Very unpopular in how he's doing it, but he's there to make money, and yeah, he's not. He went in there and he's in charge of that place, and he definitely runs it. Cten says Disney Plus in Malaysia has some local animated series, including Agent Ali, and it's a great show. Sadly, it's only available in a few countries, but I'd like to see it go global. That's cool. It's great to see that one coming in. Let's see what we've got here. So Suna says, hope next year will be better for mature content. Definitely 100%. Let's see. Joshua said, they are trying to prevent franchise fatigue. I 100% agree with you on this Marvel stuff. I actually feel the same with Star Wars a little bit. But I feel like with Marvel, cut back the series a bit. I think if they can do 2 series a year and maybe a special, I think that probably, I think the movie side is good. I think like 3 or 4 movies a year. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's fine. But the series, I think it's the week to week to week to week. It was a bit like Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and then into like the Werewolf by Night. It just felt like we were having something new Marvel-y every single week for nearly 6 months, and it just kind of lost the buzz, really. Ricardo says, you think Bob Iger back in charge, the purge of TV channels around the world is over? Bring back, I don't know if he's going to bring back channels. I don't know if they'll do that. I think they're much more likely, probably internationally, just to license out shows to other channels, like non-exclusively. Like here in the UK, I could see like ITV or Channel 4 picking up some rights for some like Disney Channel shows. I could see that makes more sense from Disney's point of view. Non-exclusive, they don't have the costs of running it. I don't think the ads are going to be the same, but yeah. The one and only Tinkerbell says, I would prefer it if they went a bit slower with Marvel. I don't want to cancel anything, but spread it out over time. 100% agree with you. And I think if they can spread it out and not cancel anything, we're still going to get it. But I feel like Phase 6 is going to just shimmy back maybe a year. I think we're going to see some more reshuffling. Bubba says, I think that Max will fail in 2023. I'm actually, and I'm going to be totally honest, I am not sure if this new HBO Max Discovery Plus, I don't think it's going to be a touch on what it used to be. I think it's going to be a free platform with ads. You can pay to maybe take the ads off. You're going to have a limited amount of content on there. It's going to be rotating in and out. They're going to be licensing stuff out to other platforms. It isn't about original stuff. It's just about having a little streaming service that brings in some money, and that I don't think it's a priority for them. I do not think it's a priority. Cten says Disney Plus should add a feature where we can sort by language dubs were available. Like, yeah, it kind of, well, it's funny because me and my wife, we were talking about this the other day while we were going through, and saying how, like, all the international stuff, because my wife says there's a lot of stuff. Actually, yeah, so but they're not sometimes making it very easy to. It's one of the things I didn't like about Netflix. There's nothing when you turn on a series and then it turns out to be in Italian or French or something, and then you're not in the mood for that, because I feel you have to, if you're sitting there to watch it, I need it in subtitle. I need it dubbed for me personally. That's how I like to watch these kind of shows. But if you're not in the mood for it, or you're not expecting it, and you feel like the trailers lied to you a little bit, that's always a little bit. I want to watch Connect. That's on my list of things I want to watch, but over the weekend, over the Christmas week, that's on my personal watch list. I want to catch up on a few of those shows. So Suna says, will we see Family Guy next year as well? I don't know about that, if we'll see that in the US. That might be a little bit more tricky. I believe it's on TBS. There is what the contract is with all of this kind of stuff going on. So we've got 5 more minutes, and so just feel free to get your last questions in, but we will have a kind of a pretty much a dead straight off at that point, because we're going to have a quick break, grab a quick drink, and then record another podcast for you guys. So Joshua says, rumors are circulating that Catherine Kennedy is leaving in 2023. Sure, this comes up every year. Yeah, there's been a lot of discussions about this. I think she'll probably go after Indiana Jones. But I think they probably need somebody new in to give the next level, to go to this next level with Star Wars. I feel like they need someone there that can like guide the franchise through everything. And she has been fantastic. I know everyone on, there's this whole thing with her that people don't like her, she's a failure for everything. She is behind some of the biggest movies of all time. She is an amazing producer. And I just feel like I think it's just kind of this weird thing. It's just right now the internet's never happy with anything, so it's I think in some ways it's getting to a point where some of the companies can't actually really go off that anymore. Josh said, I think they're also going to try to expand into other franchises. I could see them increasing production in those. I think Disney has to get away a little bit from having too much. I think they've relied way too much on Marvel and Star Wars on Disney Plus over the last 3 years, and I feel like we are at that point with franchise fatigue. I mean, like next year, I think, if we've got Ahsoka, Mandalorian, Bad Batch, and Skeleton Crew, I personally would shift Ahsoka back into 2024 and only have 2 shows. That's what I would do. Ctan says, by the way, anyone watched Pinocchio on Netflix? Everyone thinks it's better. I think to be honest, the Tom Hanks Pinocchio one was never really a weird thing. So a couple here about Catherine Kennedy. So she was the executive producer on Back to the Future, one of my all-time favorite films. And also 100% agree. I don't understand. I think it's just the fact of there's some people online that just seem to just, they just don't like anything new or anything going on. I don't know. It's just strange. Joshua says basically Max is going to do a Sony eventually. I could imagine Paramount is going to do the same route, although they recently received an influx of cash from the Berkshire Hathaway subcuts. I think Paramount is probably likely to end up teaming up with Comcast or be bought out by Comcast, or maybe even Netflix. I think Paramount is a company that could get picked up by somebody else that's got some value, but I definitely think Warner Brothers is going to do a Sony, 100%. Ctan says, come to think of it, there's a lot of animated movies released straight to streaming lately, including NF on Disney Plus. Do you think it hurt animation in cinemas? I do feel with animation as a whole in cinemas that families are not going to be going to the cinemas much. Now, COVID has changed habits, but also kids have got different habits in how they sit and watch, and they've got, I would say with phones, they have got shorter attention spans. But the cost of going cinema, we're going to be in a recession bump for a couple of years. Going to the cinema costs money. It's a special treat. It's a lot of money. And I just don't think families are going. Kelly says, I do think the MCU currently reminds me of the WWE post-Attitude era, where they lost their major stars and are building up new talent. Yeah, I think I can see that. I think the trouble was I think personally for me with the MCU was they needed to, losing like Iron Man and Captain America and Black Widow. that was kind of like the cornerstone. I think Marvel should have got into the habit a little bit more better of recasting and get us used to the idea that they can just change the actor and the character carries on, and that might have given us. I don't think I know they can bring back Iron Man. I think they're going to do it with the multiverse. I think that's going to be their way of getting around it. Dennis says, do you see Disney making a deal with Sony and getting control of Spider-Man like they merchandise? Maybe. I'm not sure Sony will really want to do much. Josh says, I don't think Comcast can buy Warner Brothers considering what's going on with Microsoft and the. I think the trouble is the stuff with regulations is like there's a lot more pressure on it. I think that's why you might end up seeing a partnership between maybe some of the companies, but also there's the other side of things as well. That they can turn to them and say, well, if you don't let us go through, we're going under. That's going to be difficult. But I think we are going to get to a point where the big boys, I don't think like Disney and Netflix could actually get through. I don't think that could come through a legal case. I think that would be difficult. I think Comcast and Warner Brothers, it's going to be hard. But then if Warner Brothers is stripped down into parts, he could sell it in parts. Right, so last couple of questions. So Barbara Trolling says, do you think Disney will buy WDB content for Hulu and National Geographic? Yes. Abbott Elementary is a Warner Brothers show. The Right Stuff is a Warner Brothers show. So I think we will definitely see that. And Matt says, I think they should do an international hub. I think Star is going to end up becoming that. I think that's how that one's going to work. Right. On that note, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this week's live Q&A. So we'll be back in a few weeks in the new year with another new live Q&A. So Patreon and YouTube channel members, keep a lookout for when I put up for questions and stuff. There will be a live Q&A open to everybody between Christmas and New Year's. You'll see it pop up on the channel as well. But yeah, so I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. So big thank you to everyone that's in there. Big thank you and Merry Christmas to Dana, Matt, we've got Bubba Trolling, Joshua, Caleb, the one and only Tinkerbell, we've got Cten, Joshua, so Suna, Ricardo. Big thank you to RRK for your continued support. Matt, and anybody else that's watching live, I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas and New Year. Plan is on the YouTube channel this week, carrying on pretty much as usual. And there will be podcast episodes going up on the Saturday for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. The week between Christmas and New Year, it's very much going to depend on how much news there is. I'm not expecting a lot, so there might not be a lot, but I hope you all have a fantastic holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, celebrate that. If you're not, just enjoy a bit of a break. And on that note, guys, thank you very much, and we shall see you guys soon. Laters.